Every painful chapter holds a hidden power code, but only if you're willing to bleed into beauty. I'm Priestess Zokai. Okay, I don't know what happened, a little tech error there, but what I was letting you guys know is that tonight, this live is all about initiation. I'm going to guide you through the 7 shades of the red alchemy, and each one is going to symbolize a phase of transforming pain into personal power. Okay, I got ready. Get your notes because I have mine. We're going to get started. So, the first one is the blood red phase, and you're going to name the wound. Sometimes we can't change something or heal something or alchemize something because we haven't named it yet. You cannot heal what you refuse to name. If it doesn't have a name, you can't say, I'm healing this thing or I'm healing that thing, right? So you have to acknowledge the story, whatever the story is. This day, I went to the store and a man put his foot out and I tripped and fell. And when I fell, I hit my head and then I was bleeding. And whatever the story is, you want to acknowledge that it happened. This is the story. This is what happened. And you want to say the betrayal out loud. Why? Because once you get it out of your head and say it out loud, you can start to move it out of your body. And then it holds less and less and less power every time that you do that. So this is the first phase. And then there's a journal prompt for you. What still bleeds when I touch it? So if you're telling this story and the story is, you still have pain, you still getting upset, you're still having lots of emotions, then that's what you need to really acknowledge, and that's what you're going to work on. So the second phase is the scarlet red phase. You want to feel it without performing it. You don't owe anyone a performance of your pain. You can feel it. You don't have to put on shows in front of people where they go, oh, she must be in pain. Like, just feel your thing. Everybody doesn't need to see it all the time. If you are with your close friend and you begin to cry or you start to show pain, that's different. But every time you get an audience, it's not showtime. It's not the stage for your pain. You can feel it, but you don't have to perform it. And sometimes what we do is we start branding it. We be feeling it, and then we make that performance of whatever injustice or whatever pain that we're incurring, we make it a whole Broadway show. And then we start branding it and we start becoming that pain and that thing. We don't want to do that. Feeling is sacred, right? But milking it, that's the trap. So we're not doing that. The next phase is the crimson phase. The wound is not wisdom, the embodiment is. So we want to go inside and really pull out what did the chapter teach me about who I never want to be again? Whenever you've gone through a deep heartbreak or a betrayal, there's some part about you, the role that you played in this production, that you don't ever want to play again. Whatever the character was. In the story earlier, I used that the man made you trip and fall and you bumped your head. And you can say, I'm not going to be the girl who bumped her head and sat there and cried and waited for somebody to help me. You can then become the hero in your own story. You're going to say, I fell, I bumped my head, but I got up. I tended to my wound. I bandaged it up. I took some time to let it heal. And then I became a badass, right? Because the wound is not going to bring you the wisdom, but who you become next and the embodiment of that is going to bring you the wisdom. Then you want to ask yourself, what did it show me about the woman I'm becoming? That's where the true power is. It's in the woman that you're becoming. The next phase is the wine phase, wine red. When you're in a wine red phase, you want to beautify the scar. Adornment is alchemy. So you want to turn the memory into a beauty ritual. Use scent, use your clothing, makeup to reclaim the scene. All the things that are taught in beauty and brujeria, you can use those rituals to turn the memory into a beauty ritual. So the example that I put here is, he used to hate when I wore red lips. Now it's my war paint. She called me dramatic. Now my perfume fills the rooms before I speak. So whatever the painful memory is, you're going to flip it. One of the things that I love the most about Candy, the singer and actress, from the group Escape, one of the things that I love best that she does, especially when she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta, do I have any housewives girlies out there? Let me know in the comments. One of the things that I love the most about Candy is she could take any situation that they tried to make a negative thing, and she turned it and flipped it and made it into a money making machine for her. They got on there and they was like, oh, she got people in the dungeon and she doing XYZ with these women and she's forcing people to do whatever wild, crazy things. And that lady took that nasty comment that was not true about her, she said, and she created a whole dungeon tour and went on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from somebody else's negativity. That is the living embodiment of how to transmute, how to alchemize some pain and turn it into a power code. Okay, let's go to the next phase. The flame phase. So in this phase, you want to channel it into creation. Your story is someone else's spell. You got to make something with it. Like I was just talking to you about what Candy did. So it could look like writing a book, designing something, a dance performance, or speaking. If nobody ever sees it, you want to move it out. Get it out of your body. Because what we know about trauma, when it gets stuck inside of our bodies, is that creates dis-ease. It creates physical ailments inside of our bodies, fibroids, the C word, all kinds of nasty things that we don't want, usually comes from some sort of trapped trauma or trapped emotional something that we have going on that we have yet to release. So that is the flame phase. And then the next phase, I cannot speak tonight. I don't know why I'm getting tongue-tied. But the next phase is the cherry phase. And you got to reclaim your pleasure at this point. We're walking through the 7 steps of alchemizing your pain into power codes. Okay. So now we're at the cherry phase and we're going to reclaim our pleasure. At this stage, you want to touch yourself slowly and relearn what feels good. Sometimes, especially when we've been married for a long time or in a long-term relationship, we started lying to our partners and then to ourselves. We started telling them that stuff felt good, that it was good, and all of this, but it really wasn't. We really didn't like it. Or maybe in the beginning, it was good. It felt good in the beginning. But now that you have evolved into a different version of yourself, that ain't really what you want no more. So you want to relearn what does feel good to you. What do you like? What do you enjoy? What brings you pleasure? And let that joy become a reclamation, not a reward for healing, but a part of it. And then our final phase is the velvet red phase. You want to bless the chapter and close it. Closure isn't always something you get, it's something you claim. Have you ever been with somebody and the relationship ended and you just felt like you had to get closure no matter what? Like you was going to get that closure and you chased that person for a very long time trying to get closure, or you just refuse to move on until they said a certain thing or did a certain thing. I'm asking because I'm like that. I was like that. I needed, it was this one particular relationship. I needed what in my mind I thought was going to bring me closure. I had questions that I need answered, and he needed to apologize to me for certain things. And I could not rest. I could not even be in my next relationship wholly and completely because I was like, this fool has not given me what he owed me. And I wanted it. But I also told myself that once I got it, that was going to bring me the closure. Well, I finally had the conversation and I got all the things that I was asking for. I got the answers, I got the apologies, but I still didn't feel like there was closure until I claimed for myself and said, this is closure, this is done, this chapter is complete. And I'm throwing away the book. Actually, I'm burning the damn book, okay? Because sometimes we got to burn the book, not just close the chapter. And so to help you do this, you can create a release altar. And this can look like, you writing down whatever it is, final words that you want to say to this person or feel like you need to say, or even what you feel like they need to say to you, right? And you release it in whatever way feels good for you, burning it or releasing it into water, burying it, something within the elements so that you can let it go, let that shit go. And then you want to thank the version of you who endured it. Because the reality is there was a version of you and she had to go through that, and she did, and she made it. She endured that. So you want to thank her. And then you want to anoint it so that you can close it out. So you want to anoint yourself with oil or perfume or lipstick. You're blessing that chapter because you survived, and then you're going to close it out. Okay? So when you incorporate these 7 phases into turning whatever your pain was into a power code, that's when the real living begins. That's when you start to reawaken yourself, and you're going to really get into living this new life that you rewrote. You can rewrite it. You have the power to change the ending to any story, to any pain point. And you can either choose to continue to live in the pain and feel all that and get trauma and get all these diseases. You're going to be not having ease within your body, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Or you can turn it into a power code. And this isn't just a list, okay? This is a sacred system. And I want you all to always remember that you're not broken, even if you feel like it. But in this stage, you're no longer broken. You're becoming. And if you're feeling that quiet pull, like you meant to rise in a deeper, more luxurious way, then absolutely your private invitation is open to you. So I created the Badass Sanctum. It's my private society for women who are moving through this in-between space. They're reclaiming their beauty, they're building their power, and they're rewriting what confidence really looks like for them after pain. If you want to learn more about going deeper with that, please visit badassuniverse.com, or you can click the link at the top. But your next era starts when you say yes to yourself. Okay, I'll see you guys for the next Siren Hour.